Hello everybody, today I would like to show you my casual white First Strikers deck. As you can see, it is a casual deck without a sideboard, and I have played it a couple of times so far, and I definitely like the feel of it. There are definitely some things that can be improved about it. Initially I wanted to make a green and white deck, but it looks like even in white we can have a lot of nice things there to work with. So first of all, taking a look at the mana base, there is nothing special. There's a ton of plains and strip mine. The land count for this deck is a little bit higher than the usual White Weenie land count because it doesn't really rely on land tax, and the creatures that we have here are definitely larger than your usual White Weenie deck again. So what is it about? Again, it's mostly about First Strikers and some kind of pump spells that will make them more powerful. And of course it would be nice to put some removal in, but in these casual decks I really want to go all in on a particular theme, kind of enforce it, and then maybe we can downsize and optimize the deck from there. So as usual, the new addition to my deck tech videos is that after this deck tech per se, you're going to see how this deck performs in the Forge app. So you will see some games, some fast games with this deck. And here we have got the first card, which is Tundra Wolves. Again, it's just a basic First Striker, 1/1, but he will rarely be 1/1 thanks to some kind of pump spells. Personal pump spells, and also pump spells that work on most of our creatures. And we have also got, of course, some artifact First Strikers. So that's a wall, which is 2/3, wall of spears. I have always liked and in some way maybe even feared this particular art. Really nice card, and not that important, but still. Next we have got, which is much more interesting, Pikemen. So bending and First Strike. So First Strike is annoying by itself, especially if we're dealing with blockers, for example, because, you know, a couple of blockers with First Strike will just make your opponent not willing to attack at all. So you will be able to keep them at bay, you know, provided that they don't have flyers, of course, or some other way to deal with your creatures. But if you have banding, you can even do that with attacking, right? Because you will be able to band these creatures into one, and then your First Striking band will just destroy your opponent's bigger creatures. So there are a lot of things at play, and even more things at play if we think about some pump spells that we technically might have, right? Like I'm talking about those instant effects, those fast effects. So yeah, Pikemen I really enjoy. Pump Knights need no introduction. This is my favorite piece of art for Pump Knights, but they're all nice, of course. And what I wanted to say is that, yes, it's such an efficient card. So many abilities, you know, 2/1 for 2 mana is not bad. In old school is not terrible, as we know. But having 3 ability on 1 card, and also having this pump, even though a bit overcosted, let's say comparing to Frozen Shade, for instance, but not many people actually play Frozen Shade, you know what I mean. So yes, and again, technically it is a First Striking card. So that, of course, would make this deck Atlantic, because it has just this one Fallen Empires card. Next we have got White Knight, so the prototype of those Pump Knights, of course. And I don't know, in many cases I would prefer White Knights because, well, 2 toughness might be relevant, and I don't know, it's just such a cool looking card, straight out of your fairy tale, really. Next we have got a beautiful card many people like, but not everybody actually owns a playset, and sadly I don't own a playset either, because it's a very beautiful card, and it's the only flying creature in this deck, sadly. Well, there is of course also this guy, but we'll get to him later on, because this card already has First Strike and flying, and maybe I would like to get more copies, but they're a bit on the expensive side. So the Avenger, yeah, the last creature card here, that we haven't talked about. 6 mana, 4/4, quite a bad deal, and they can activate this ability. Urza's Avenger gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and your choice of flying, bending, first strike, or trample. So that's a lot of abilities to think of. So it's like build your own creature, but at a very high cost. And you know, 4/4 for 6 mana is not very good to begin with. So normally we would hope that we'll be able to pump him. So imagine how cool it would be, for example, to put this on him, or maybe Blessing even, which is better, and then he will become a, I don't know, trampling first striker flying, you know, just like your, but it's not really Lord of the Pit, because Lord of the Pit doesn't have first strike, as I remember, but nevertheless. Yeah, so Urza's Avenger, still technically a first striking card. Next, we have got some usual pump spells, and not only Crusade but also Jihad, and of course you understand how powerful it can be. This thing always gives me OCD because, you know, when I bought it I hadn't noticed it, and then when I did notice it I thought that it's just some kind of a, I don't know, a crack in the frame, and then I looked at other cards from Arabian Nights and I said, wait, because there are no other cards with this kind of crack, it's so disappointing. So yeah, I had been tricked, sadly. I bought it as a played card, but it was for $50. I think that now this might cost a tiny bit more. So nevertheless, yes, Jihad +2/+1 essentially gives your creatures unholy strength, right? And must be discarded immediately if there's no cards of this color in play. Okay, so not always easy to make it work, but even if you do make it work for one time, I mean for one turn, right? Because it's maybe even better than this, except for the case that it is not an instant. So you got the idea, basically. Next we have Righteousness, and I know it's probably not the best deck for it, but +7/+7, it acts as a pseudo removal. And then we have got this card, rather interesting, Ashnod's Battle Gear. So this is the prototype of the equipment cards that we have nowadays. Essentially, when you activate it, and then you may choose not to untap it. Basically, it means that, yeah, this creature will be wearing this battle gear, so to say, right? And +2/-2. And sadly doesn't have this Bloodlust style errata, so meaning that if you put it on your White Knight, which is not pumped, it will die. So you would only put it on bigger creatures, or only after you have got some pump spell, some enchantments maybe in play. Next, I will never be tired to talk about the wording of Blessing, or the lack thereof. So look, these are the only symbols that we see here in the text box. So this +1/+1. Amazing, amazing, love it. And it's not actually that bad if you think about it, yes? It's just +1/+1 for 1. Essentially, you're putting again this Frozen Shades / Killer Bees effect on a creature that you control. And yes, again, talking about Divine Transformation, a nice card, +3/+3 for 4 mana. Of course, we would like to have some extra effects there, but no. And it would look like it gives flying to a creature, but sadly it doesn't. And you know, people in the comments, as I remember on my video where I talked about non-flying flying creatures, would say that do you think that wings equals flying? And well, this is the first reaction you would get to such a card. Next, we have got Army of Allah. Again, maybe that's a bit too much in terms of pump spells, so some cards like this may actually go, but Army of Allah has been hugely successful in the decks I have been playing. The first time I've tested this card was in my green and white vanilla deck, and I must tell you that it's pretty devastating. You just have to have a lot of creatures, which we do in this particular deck. Next, Rune Sword. Is it the Hairy Rune Sword? I don't remember, because I have the hairy version and the non-hairy version. I think it's not the hairy one. In any case, this is a Rune Sword. It's super expensive to cast. It's really beautiful, this heavy metal thing. 6 mana and 3 mana to activate. And to add insult to injury, so to say, just to emphasize the low efficiency of this card, we can say that it's 3 mana to activate. It only works on attacking creatures. So +2/+0 until end of turn. How disappointing is that? Yes, the creature may not be regenerated if it's placed in a graveyard, remove it. If the creature leaves play before end of turn, Rune Sword is buried. So essentially it dies and the Rune Sword dies with it. This is, you know, this Sandals of Abdallah, I think, effect slash, what was it? Magic Carpet effect as well. Yeah, so again, this is basically flavor over function, and this card is just bad. But I still wanted to include it. And much more interesting for me is the Coral Helm, which has this very nice effect. And it's one of the rare occurrences in old school Magic where you can make cards in your hand as a kind of a resource, you know. And of course we do have Ivory Tower, yes, where the number of cards in your hand might matter. And of course we have a Jellum Tome, but there are not so many things that we can add to this. But this one, for 3 mana, you can activate it. It is a poly artifact, so you can activate it many times. And for discarding a random card, you can give to one of your creatures +2/+2. And yes, you will say it's very expensive. I agree here, but at the same time, if you think about it, +2/+2, let's say you have 6 mana, you have 2 extra cards like extra lands lying in your hand, and you're attacking. Your opponent knows that you have this, but they of course don't know where exactly you're going to apply this effect. Can be pretty devastating, and again, we usually hope that we have more creatures than our opponent can block. So yeah, this is the deck you have seen, and now let's move on to the Forge games and see how it actually performs against AI. And here's an update on our Patreon goal. Unfortunately, we didn't reach the Patreon goal of 10 patrons before the beginning of October, but we are going to move this to 10 patrons before 2024, and I would like to thank our new patron Andy, and also of course our current patrons who are Plague Doctor and Cam. And in any case, I really thank you for your continuous support, whether you are supporting me on Patreon or not. But the good thing is that our current rank is If Biff Ifrit, because he's got 3 power, so the road from Cavern to Leviathan continues. So please check the patreon.com/mtg_fail page, and let's make it happen. If we do succeed, then there will be a completely new website. Actually, I haven't announced that yet, but it is something that I have already registered, the domain, and there I will host not only the content that is already here, but also some kind of a platform for old school Magic, and we'll also have a Forge and Forge decks there, and also the app that I have been developing. So let's make it happen. 10 patrons before 2024. Once again, I highly appreciate your support. So let's try to test this deck. Let's try to see how it actually works. And of course, it usually makes sense to test this creature-based deck with this very important advantage of having first strike against another creature-based deck, because otherwise it just wouldn't make sense, because obviously first strike costs something in terms of mana, but if there is no interactivity, the creatures would be pretty much underwhelming. So let's see, our opponent attacks us with the giant bird, which is pretty painful, and okay, I accidentally skipped a phase, and as a result, maybe we'll put one more stop here, I attacked with a weaker pikeman, but at the same time maybe I even shouldn't have cast Crusade, you know, shouldn't have lamented my lack of Crusade. So just casting the second pikeman is okay. So here we've got Pixies. Now, this is where it all begins, because look, we have got our pikemen, they have banding, they have first strike. We're going to pump them a little bit more. And unless our opponent can pump Pixies, factory. We will attack as a band. This is exactly what we're going to do. So here, as you can see, since we have got banding on one of our creatures, it says select creatures to attack your opponent or select player card you wish to attack as a band. So yeah, attack a card. I presume that would be a Planeswalker. Definitely relevant here because look, we are Planeswalkers. This is all we need to know in old school. We don't care about the Planeswalker type here. But again, select an attacking creature to activate its band, then select another one to join. So here we highlight it in this magenta color, and they will be attacking as a band. So this band definitely looks very powerful. Nobody is blocking it, of course. So assigned pikeman and pikeman. So the log doesn't say anything about banding, but yes, it was there. So our opponent is attacking us for 7, which is quite painful. Okay, if we attack like this and we cast Army of Allah, that'll be pretty brutal for our opponent, but should I just wait? 2 cards in hand. Yes, it cannot be too much. I mean, he cannot pump the bird. Well, should we play it safe? No, I don't want to play it 100% safe. Let's just attack with those. Elvish archers, great. More creatures, but look, we aren't afraid of creatures. And we even have blessing. I don't know why I actually have blessing in this deck. Looks somewhat irrelevant, but I will bless White Knight. Or should I bless Pikeman, because White Knight is already bigger than the others? Yes, I think it would be better to bless Pikeman. And are we going to attack as a band? But no, why would we attack as a band? We already have awesome first strikers. Alpha Strike. Is he going to block everyone? Not everyone. So look. What are the implications? Pumping for 4. And this is only 2/2. But okay, in any case, I will cast Army of Allah. So... oh, wait, what happened there? Yes, our opponent had Elvish Archers, and he also had First Strike. Okay. So, are we dead yet? No. Okay, a ton of creatures. Let's not forget that Avenger can actually fly. But I will just attack with both. Okay. 4. Before combat, declare attackers. You're going to attack? No. Okay. So then nothing else matters. Here is the order. Which I don't really care about. I will attack with all of these. And he will, of course, block. Oh, okay. Damage order, Pixies. So Factory gets damage first. Pixies second. I think I will activate. But should I activate the helm? No, I will not activate the helm. Or wait, should I? Okay, maybe I want to save somebody. So if I want to save the Avenger, I will just use my Coral Helm to pump him, right? Because then he would be 6. And yeah, okay. So I think Avenger is more important than the order. Assign damage, lethal, yes, okay, good. Alright, so we won anyway. We won. Alpha Strike. Alright then. So let's play against another deck actually. And another deck will also be a creature-based deck here. So, well, it's not really a creature-based deck. This 4-color control, right? So, can we play against Black Winnie? Yeah, it's always interesting how White Winnie works against Black Winnie. And to be honest with you, of course, they all have their advantages. I usually think that White Winnie is a little bit better. It is expected to work better. So, one lander. Of course, I can have Thunderbolts, but I'm not going to keep it. Oh, this is not better. This is not better. But okay, I'll keep it. I'll keep it. So what I wanted to say is that Black Winnie will usually have the hymn. And this is not the hymn, but this is an order, which looks quite fearsome, considering that I don't have such a creature. And here's the hippie. Okay. So it's very bad. It's very bad. Oh, I will attack. He will block with hippie. Okay, so this is again just Massacre of AI, who doesn't understand how these cards interact with each other, because I've got a 1-1, and he says, perfect, it's a 1-1, I have a 2-2, so never mind first strike, never mind banding, and that is correct, but blessing, here we go. Yeah, you know, it almost feels like cheating if you do that. Maybe against some kind of a new player in Magic, and you just didn't explain to them how the rules work and everything, and yeah, you always feel bad. Maybe you feel like you shouldn't be playing against this opponent if these things happen. But the opponent can still win here, because look, he has got one more order. Oh no, what should we do? So, you know, on paper he can kill me next turn, because that would be an attack for 6. And also he can pump for more than enough, because he has enough mana for that, and I only have 8 life. Alright. And we shouldn't actually hope that our opponent wouldn't pump the orders, because yes, very often he doesn't pump the orders, but this never happens when he attacks for lethal. So, I mean, when he attacks for... Oh, no, wait. Okay. I was wrong. I was wrong. So, yes. Okay, I was wrong to say that. But in any case, as you can see... So, again, yeah, he attacked for lethal. He didn't pump properly. But, you know, humans also make these kinds of mistakes. But let's just say these are not the kinds of humans that usually play in tournaments. So, yeah, anyway, I can't do anything about it. And look, now for some reason he decided to pump. So, essentially, he chose the chance of casting Singer of Empire over the chance of being able to pump the order. And I don't know, maybe there are some corner cases where you're going to expect removal, or maybe you even know that your opponent has removal, and then you know that you will be able to pump, but you will still not kill your opponent. So I'm not saying that this decision is wrong in 100% of cases, but in 99% of cases, when you can pump and kill your opponent, this is probably what you should do. Okay, so let's try one last deck against us, and let it be this Orcish Spire Millstone. No, probably that's not right. That's not the right thing to test it against. Maybe against this 3-color Reanimator. Opponent cannot cast Recall. Well, okay, Recall is not a central card here. Yeah, so this is a deck that I have played on stream, and a deck tech of that video is coming soon, and more games in Forge as well, where I will be playing it. So here I just decided to give it to AI. So it looks like AI doesn't really understand how Reanimator works. But no, trust me, he actually does. He does understand how Reanimator works, because very frequently I saw him use Reanimator. Because Reanimator is essentially a combo deck, and I love it because it is a combo deck that has 3 different pieces, but these pieces are interchangeable, which is very important. So this is not like a 3-card combo. This is a 3-piece combo, if you wish. So you've got discard, or just some ways of getting your creatures into graveyards. You've got the creatures themselves, and finally reanimation spells. So anyway, as you can see here, we won easily against Reanimator, so maybe give him one more chance. And here I will keep again, because from what I recall, the AI is usually more or less capable of playing a Reanimator. This is just maybe an unfortunate turn of events, because this is just not fair. This is just not fair what is currently happening. One more turn. And okay, so he decided just to play this card from his hand. And here we have this glorious Ashnod's Battle Gear, which we will even be able to use. And let's pump this Pump Knight. Okay, so there it is. This is the deck. Not the most interesting deck, I know, but more things are coming up soon. And if you have any experience of using First Strikers, I just would like to know how you feel about them. I feel it's a great ability. It is very frequently relevant, and it is on this fun side of Magic where you have got creature battles in old school, things like that. So I'll see you around.